A day's gonna come where it's been a long time since you've sent an embarrassing text message or drunkenly argued with somebody on social media at 2 a.m. One day you'll realize it's been 3 or 4 days since the thought of alcohol popped in your head. You'll realize it's been a while since you've given anybody a red flag, or you haven't let yourself down for a few months. And life is just better than it's been in a long time. All right, welcome back to Getting Sober, Again, my name is Jay, and today we are going to talk about your goals. Have you gotten there yet? Comment below. And if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing by hitting that little subscribe button. It only takes 2 seconds of your time to stay up to date on whatever I might be saying next. And also to consider liking this video at some point. It's gonna be pretty good. And then also make sure you can leave a comment below. Anything that you might think that is helpful and advance this topic. I know this is not a scripted episode. I try to speak off the top of my head, so some of you may later come across some information, a link or some study or something that you might think that might be relevant to this topic. So feel free to comment that below, or comments on anything that I say, or you can add to the comments that are already existing and build up a dialogue with the people that are down there. Cool? All right, so let's get started. First, I want to say we hit another milestone. We hit 600 subscribers, and I'm very proud of that. I'm something like in the last month, I think I've gotten something like 200 new subscribers in the last month. And by contrast, I don't know how many of you out there are YouTubers, but it took like a whole year for me to get to that point in the first place. Granted, in that first year, those were the color videos and I wasn't really taking it too seriously. And technically, I had only done it for like 3 months before I had to get sober again. But at any rate, we just knocked out, like I said, 200 subscribers in the past 28 days. And we are now over the threshold of 600 subscribers, and we are just 400 or less subscribers away from finally getting this channel monetized, where I'll be able to make money off of YouTube's select advertising. All right, so make sure that you have subscribed, please. And if you have some other accounts that you want to subscribe to this channel, that'd be helpful also. All right, so let's get started. So today's topic is, are you there yet? And what I mean by that is, are you there with regard to your goals? So when we talk about getting sober and staying sober and all that, I know a lot of people, including yourself, including me, we lose track and we lose sight of whatever our goal actually is and whatever it was. If I think back at my personal list of what I wanted to accomplish by getting sober, this is a very short list, but let's just see what pops in my head. I wanted to be a better friend. I wanted to be more consistent on a day-to-day basis, meaning I wanted to be able to count on myself. And it's hard to count on yourself when you're drinking all the time, especially when you're, if you have a regular 9-to-5 job, comment below. I don't have a traditional regular job. I don't work 8 to 4, 9 to 5, 7 to 3, none of that. But for most people do. And then after work, you tend to do a happy hour type of thing. I did work in the service industry for a long time, so I would know. I'd see those people come in after work. Usually the same people would come in after work, and then they would sit at the bar for a couple hours and get sloshed, and then get hammered, and then go home. So they'd come in, they'd drive over to the restaurant, and then drink, and then they would drive home. Right? And it's that alone is upsetting. And it's I've done it too, and you've done it too. Maybe you're one of those rare people that never drink and drive, and you actually responsibly get a cab or an Uber or a Lyft. If you're that person, comment below. But I think that for the most part, most of us drove drunk because, you get used to it, and you could do a bunch of different things. You're convinced that you're much better at karaoke on booze. You're probably better. You think you're better at darts. You think you're better at playing pool. I've heard people say, I would play pool billiard sessions in the morning, and sometimes, and I've heard people say I've never played pool sober in my life. But that's not the point of today's episode. But, we get stuck in those loops, right? And so when we think back about whatever our goal is, like I wanted to be more consistent with myself. If I'm spending those time, like the later part of the day, after dinner time, it was easy to like have dinner and then go out, right? And look for a little bit of excitement and then drink until, it's too, I've had too much to drink, or I don't care about anything or anybody except for sleep. Well, of course, for a couple of slices of pizza and then sleep, right? And then, you're kind of in dire straits, drinking yourself silly. And then now you can't be trusted to do anything anyway. There's no reason to tackle that to-do list. You're intoxicated. There's no reason to try to start a new business. You're intoxicated, which didn't stop you from talking business. How many drunk conversations did you have? All these big plans that you have when you were drunk, and you're talking to your other drunk friend, like, oh, we're gonna start a home care lawn business, and then when it snows, we're gonna get snow plows and we're gonna do the whole driveway. Whatever your drunk conversation was, comment below. But I wanted to be more consistent, so like I wanted to be a better friend. I wanted to be a better family member. I wanted to stop being so angry. That was like one of the top, like in my top 3. I don't know what your top 3 is. Comment below, whatever your top 3 is. But my top 3, definitely one of them was controlling my anger issues. And I am far less irritable now that I'm not drinking. And I'm very grateful for that. Like, when I was drinking, I was irritable a lot. And it was just having to deal with the world, with having like, the NutriBullet spilled. My whole day's ruined now. Just like stupid stuff like that. Or it's, cracking an egg and getting like a little bit of eggshell in it. It's like, now I gotta stop everything I'm doing, getting this eggshell out of this omelet, Maybe this sounds like funny to you, but like I'm sure you have like irritability issues also, like if you're still drinking, or like when you were drinking more, like traffic, right? I mean, it's still like everybody still hates like Sunday drivers. Nobody likes having tailgaters on like in your rear view mirror less than 2 car lengths away from your bumper. Tailgating you. Nobody likes that. Use your blinker, all that stuff, right? And like nobody likes terrible drivers, but I would let it like really bother me. I would lay on the horn. I'd give them like one of those, like I'll give them one of those problem solver looks, like that's gonna fix anything. They probably weren't even looking at you in the first place. Or here's the even more like ridiculous scenario. You're looking at them like a crazy person, then they're looking at you like a crazy person. Then your window goes down, then their window goes down. You're both pointing and screaming, and nobody's paying attention to what's in front of you, and then you almost get into a car accident. Like, right? I mean, stupid stuff like that. Like we've done so many stupid things. I'm willing to say that, like, willing to bet that like most of, probably 90% of the stupid shit that I've done in my life has been on alcohol. From like the arguments. There's a picture of me jumping on the hood of somebody's truck downtown somewhere, and I just thought it was, I don't know, some truck pulled up and they were talking to somebody, and I jumped on the step and like launched myself onto like the hood of this. Like I was pretty crazy on booze from time to time. I would while out, as they used to say, and so I've done some of my worst decisions, some of my worst, a lot of my breakups, a lot of the reasons for my breakups, most of the arguments that I've been in, almost all of the fights except for the one in 5th grade, had to do with booze. I've been arrested. And that one of those times I've been arrested was, I think, 1 or 2 of those times. One of the times was involving alcohol. You might say, like, how many times have you been arrested? That'll be a different episode. I did talk about one of the times I got arrested in one of the previous episodes. If I remember, I'll put the link or the thumbnail up there. It was like a time that I got handcuffed to the one-armed guy. Ridiculous story, all true though. But so I wanted to solve my anger issues, right? And so let me pause for a second to kind of remind you what we're talking about. What we're talking about is like, are you there yet? Have you reached your goal of sobriety? And when we're in the beginning stages of getting sober, when we're at hour 4, hour 8, day 1, day 2, and you're just like looking, it's like, oh my God, how long have I been sober? I don't know. I don't think I can handle this. This is too much pressure. What are you gonna do? Like, if we're obsessing about like how long it's been since we've been sober and you're waiting for some like positive reinforcement, for some of you, this right here might be your only positive reinforcement. Hopping in the comment section below or sending me an email at gettingsoberagain@gmail.com. Maybe that's the positive reinforcement that you get, and I'm happy to be able to provide that service for you. But for a lot of us, and especially in the beginning phases, again, you go back to that negative thinking, that negative thought loop of like, well, what's the point? I broke my sobriety. I'm a piece of shit. I'm never gonna do this. And like, you probably wouldn't be surprised, but like how many people comment, or how many people like send me messages, and they're just like with just like defeatist attitudes. And it's like, and I get it. Like if you had a goal of being sober, like being sober for a week, and you fell short on day 4, it's like, oh, well then might as well throw the whole thing out the window. I got to start back over at day 0. And it's like, my personal opinion is no, you don't have to start back over at day 0. Just put an asterisk on it. You were sober for a week minus a day. But I'm not giving you like, my belief is not though that it's like, okay, well, we're just giving out asterisks. That's what we're doing now. So it's like, here's an asterisk on Thursday, here's an asterisk on Saturday, and one on Sunday morning. So it was like, I don't have 3 asterisks that week. It's like, no, you're not really putting your notes. You're not really making the effort, right? And I don't support that. I'm a pretty forgiving person. I'm pretty laid back. It's been a while since I had a haircut, but what I'm not trying to do is enable you to fall back into old habits. You're watching this channel for a reason. You're subscribed to this channel for a reason. You're watching other YouTubers for a reason, or you're not watching other YouTubers and you're watching me for specific reasons. You're reading books, you're looking at memes, you're checking out zines, you're reading articles on how to get better and how to be better and how to make better decisions, right? And one of those is not, is not to say that you're going to go sober for a week and then say well, I only drank for two of those days, so that was pretty good. I mean, that's pretty good compared to drinking 7 days a week. Sure, that is a silver lining. However, if your goal is to be sober, what are the reasons for being sober, right? I mean, I was kind of an asshole when I was drunk, because it was kind of like I decided in my head, I was of the opinion that the only thing that was going to make me feel better or make me feel the way that I wanted to feel was by drinking a lot of alcohol. Right? And if you identify with that, comment below. I mean, there was sex was great, I guess. But it's better than that? Getting that first buzz from alcohol. And I'm sure I sounded like an alcoholic just then. However, if the shoe fits, right? And I bet some of you felt that same way too. It's like, or maybe you never had. I don't mean to be, talk about sex so much, but maybe you only ever had sex while drunk. I was talking to, I talked about in a previous episode, a girl, she reached out to me and she had just gotten out of the hospital from trying to kill herself on booze and pills. And she was loosely making a joke with me about drunk sex. And it's just and I was thinking back about it and I was just like, I guess other than the morning time, there wasn't a whole bunch of instances where I wasn't drunk. And, that's, and especially that's definitely a slippery slope now with the climate of society with people rightfully getting Me Too'd. But then also too, I mean, there are definitely accusations going in both directions. There's a lot of miscommunication and there are a lot of blurred lines. I'll just leave it at that. When you're both intoxicated, you're definitely not in the right state of mind to be making decisions, especially a decision that could be permanent, like potentially committing an act like sex that could potentially bring a human being into this world. That's a permanent decision, right? And not necessarily the best one if you weren't intending to bring a child into this world. Then you got two people that loved each other for a night but don't love each other forever. And then a child has to be born into that world with two parents with the two biological parents that don't love each other, don't want to see each other, and don't really support each other in their endeavors, right? But that's a whole different topic. So whatever we think about, whatever our goal is, keep it in mind. Ask yourself when you're having that craving, when you're sitting there doing your 100 no challenge, nope. You see those cravings, you're like, boom, there's another one when you're doing all that and that's not working for you. Remind yourself what your goals are. Maybe pause the video right now and write down whatever your goals are. Maybe just 5 goals. Maybe it's to become less angry. Maybe it's to be more kind. Maybe it's to be more compassionate. Maybe it's just to save a boatload of money by switching to sobriety. I know that I did. I switched and I saved a ton of money. I was spending like $20 a day on booze. And so now my tally is, I'm very close to 5 months, by the way. So that episode's coming soon, but it's in 5 months. So if you multiply $20 a day times 30 days at $600 a month, and I'm going on 5 months. So that's $3,000. I don't know if I would have spent all of that, but I can definitely look at my bank account and say, like, I can look at $3,000 in my bank account and go, that would have been in the toilet. Literally, that would have been down the drain. That would have just been in the pockets. The money would have been in the pockets of the bar and the alcohol industry. And guess what? Other than goofy little sunglasses or the occasional t-shirt or whatever they might give you, you're not going to get that back. Maybe some stupid plastic beads on St. Patty's Day. That's the only other time that you might get a koozie. Is that worth it? No. For brand loyalty, I doubt it. It's stupid, right? But what are your goals? Write down what your goals are. Do you want to save money? That's a really big one. Your health should definitely be on that list. It should be on that. It should be a priority. There are definitely people, and like, if you need some prayers set out your way, like, I'm not saying I could promise anything. I'm not saying I'm a miracle healer, but if that day does come, if I am blessed with that opportunity to be able to be of service in that particular way to people, I'll gladly assume that responsibility. But if you need me to pray for you, I will. From Cleveland, Ohio, I'll send out some prayers for you. I definitely have a list of people that I am praying for, and I do pray every day. And that's more of a recent phenomenon for me. That's something, I grew up Pentecostal, but that's like the speaking in tongues and laying hands on people church. And I didn't really necessarily, like, no offense, God, but I didn't really vibe with it. And there are teachings, in my opinion, there are teachings in every religion, and there are good teachings in every religion. There are teachings on how to be a better person, how to be more kind, how to be more compassionate, how to be more considerate, how to love thy neighbor, how to care about your community. Those are all a lot of the principal teachings of most religions on how to just be a better person, more kind and more loving person. And regardless of who your personal representative is to God, whatever your faith is, if it's Jesus, if it's Muhammad, if it's Abraham, whoever it is. And my whole point is, if you need prayer, let me know. Email me at gettingsoberagain@gmail.com. I'll send some out your way. But you got to do the work too. And that's something that, when I do my prayers for myself, it's like, I pray for the opportunity. I pray to be put onto your path. And I pray for you to be put onto my path. And I pray for opportunities to succeed in life. But I also pray for the focus to be able to achieve these tasks and achieve these goals. I pray for the focus to be able to stay away from alcohol and from addiction, so that I can achieve these goals, so that I can accomplish these things that I'm asking for. It's not just saying like, hey, I want to be blessed. I want a big house, so give it to me. And it's like, well, I don't think that's necessarily a fair or rational prayer. And that's a little bit overreaching, in my opinion, isn't it? To just ask for, dear God, give me a big house, amen. Oh, and also got $1 million. That'd be nice. It's like, well, maybe change the prayer up a little bit, right? So if you need one of those, let me know. But so maybe your health is one of the things that you need. Maybe you had a recent diagnosis that is scaring the daylights out of you, and you had to say goodbye to alcohol. You didn't necessarily want to, but prematurely you had to. Maybe you want to save that money. Maybe your relationship is in shambles. Maybe one or both of you are drinking and you've just been at each other's throats, and it's not a loving relationship anymore. And you're putting too much pressure on your partner to be the partner that you want in your fantasy world. Or maybe, when you met them, they were 20, 30, 40 pounds lighter, or, maybe they were 20, 30 years younger. And it's like, are you looking in the mirror also? Are you something to be desired? I mean, that's also part of it too. So it's like, when I ask for, like when I pray for things like hoping that I find a loving partner someday, it's like, well, hold on. What kind of partner am I going to be? Like, what am I going to be bringing to the table in that scenario? When I ask for a really dope job, when I maybe I pray like that. Sometimes I pray like, dear God, give me a dope job. Amen. We have it's a personal relationship. But like when I ask for this channel to take off, you know, when I ask for a better job and better job opportunities, it's like, well, what am I bringing to the table? Is it like, am I asking for a great photography or videography job, and then am I still like spending 8 hours in the pool hall brushing up my pool game? So that's another instance of active procrastination. It's like I'm doing something to pass the time, but I'm not doing what I should be doing to get to where I want to go to be able to achieve my goals. And so one of the things that we definitely need to keep in mind when we have those temptations is a question I ask myself is this going to get me closer to or keep me further from my goals? And alcohol is taking me further away from my goals in many different ways. And you might say like, well, but the social lubricant aspect of it, it's like, well, I can have more conversations and I'm less inhibited and like I can have meetings a little bit easier and all that stuff. And it's like, when I hear people say stuff like that, when I think about me having those ideas and those thoughts, because I've had those thoughts, here's what I imagine. Maybe this will help you. I imagine me being a little child holding my binky, my little blanket, and just wanting to hide every time that there was something that was a little scary, something that I was afraid of, something that I wasn't sure on how to handle. I would just hide behind my blanket, you know, that false sense of security. And that's what alcohol was for me for a long time. It was just a false sense of security. And it's like this whole time, it's like I identify with being a weirdo. I love how weird I am. And now that I'm sober, like I just try to be even more weird and calculated and kind and considerate and all that stuff too. I'm just trying to be the best version of myself. So when we think about, are we there yet? That's the question I feel like you should be asking yourself. Am I there yet? If my goal was to lose 20 pounds, am I there yet? It was my goal to be eating healthier. Am I there yet? And if you're still asking yourself, you still have to ask yourself the question, you're probably not there yet. When you're sober, when you get to sobriety, it's not even gonna be a thought anymore. Like it's not at all a thought for me. And I'm very thankful, I'm very grateful. But when I wake up in the morning, it's not a thought to me that like, I wonder about, you know, like going to have a drink, having a drink. Like I'd drink at lunch. And then sometimes I would drink from lunch because I have a flexible schedule. Sometimes I would drink from like lunch all the way to happy hour. And then from happy hour, sometimes all the way to like nighttime, I would have a drinking session. Sometimes I would drink for like 12 hours. I mean, not sure, but just back to back for 10 hours sometimes. It'd be a long day of drinking, and it was definitely taking me away from my goals. So now here I am, not thinking about alcohol. The only time I ever really think about alcohol is when I'm sitting here talking to you about it. And that's a wonderful trade-off in my opinion. So good luck to you on your journey. Don't forget to comment below. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like this video. And I will see you in the next video.